Hello. TGIF, happy Friday. If you are watching on replay, awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please comment and ask questions, and I will check back periodically to answer those for you. I love to hear from everybody who is watching on replay as well. I'm going to give everyone a couple of minutes to get on today. I am Coach Karen. I'm a registered dietitian and private life coach here at The Watering Mouth. And I work with clients one-on-one to help them reach their health and their weight goals, kind of get unstuck and fast forward their process. But what I'm here today to do is talk about the end of dieting for our last virtual book club on the end of dieting. We are going to be choosing a new book, and I will let you know that coming up. And hey, if you can hear me and see me okay, let me know. I think I'm getting some notification that you guys can hear me, which is awesome. Oh, hi, Nora. You missed the Facebook meeting. Awesome. Well, you're here for this one. So that's just absolutely perfect timing. Everything works out for a reason. And you missed my cell phone rang during the last call. So it is completely out of the room now. I have an 18-year-old and I have her on my emergency contact list, which means her number will ring through even if it's on silent or whatever, all those options on the phone. And I do that because if she's out late at night and I fall asleep, I want to hear it, but I didn't necessarily want to hear it during our virtual book club on Facebook. And then I went to power the phone off, and that was a disaster as well. So all that technology is out of the room so I can fully be here for you all today. I want to know, since this is the last time we're going to be meeting about the book. Hey, Vicky, I want to know if you tried any of the recipes this week. Last week we spoke about, in the end of chapter 6, he has 2 weeks worth of meal plans. And we talked about maybe doing some of those meal plans. And I want to know if you did that. I had super high hopes for doing that last week. I am a little embarrassed to tell you that I did not. I did, however, make a couple of the salad dressings. More specifically, I definitely made the walnut balsamic. Is that what it's called? I think it's called walnut balsamic, walnut vinaigrette dressing. And that one's on page 223 of the book. I love it. I actually made it twice, and I think I doubled it both times. This one I love because you can use any nut. You can use any vinegar. I basically am always going to have this stuff around the house. So I really feel like that's an easy one to make. Vicky made Dr. Furman eggplant roll-ups. Ooh, yum. Yeah, one of my awesome clients gave me a suggestion from one of his recipes that had eggplant and tomato. So I finally got an eggplant from the store. And then the tomatoes in the garden aren't turning red for some reason. We have no idea why, but they aren't turning red. So I don't have it to make that. So maybe I will take a peek at those eggplant roll-ups, although I wonder if that's the one that has tomato in it as well. Let me know. I was going to pop the eggplant in the oven as soon as I was done with this call and maybe make some baba ganoush, like a little bit of a dip that I can throw on one of my salads. So that's my eggplant plan. Nora, not able to make anything from it, but plan on next week. Okay, good. Like I was feeling a little bit like, I can't believe I have to go on and tell them I didn't make all these recipes. I had planned to, and some of the ingredients that I wrote down, the store didn't have. And then, this was one of those weeks. My high schooler started his school this week virtually, and I'm my middle schooler, and then my daughter started a job this week and is taking night classes. So it was one of those weeks that was an amazing week. Everyone was doing awesome stuff, but between all of that new stuff and working, I had some great meals, but I didn't try anything new. I stuck with the salads that I love. I always pre-make those salads. So I had one for every single day, and had the salad dressing. I like to make sure I have a salad dressing, but if I don't, I always have like a vinegar that I throw on my salads that I'm good with without anything added to it as well. And then for dinners this week, it's a little bit embarrassing, but I had nice cream for dinner. So I had either blueberries and bananas mixed together with some vanilla extract, or cherries and bananas with either vanilla or almond extract. And that's what I ate when I wasn't eating that, I had Ezekiel bread with peanut or almond butter on it, not peanut butter, and sliced bananas. So those were my super fancy dinners this week. But it worked, and I feel good, and I feel healthy. So it all worked out. And it actually, I have to say, see, it wasn't a total waste because he does talk about in the back of this book some of the healthy bread choices, and that sprouted bread, that Ezekiel bread, is healthy bread choices that you want to try if you're still eating bread. So there are a couple brands that do it. I like the Ezekiel bread. Hey there, Misty Blue. I like the Ezekiel bread, but you can try any of those sprouted wheat brands. I like the sesame and I like that cinnamon raisin. Cinnamon raisin to me is more like, it's a little sweet, although it doesn't have any sugar. It's just the sweetness from the raisins. And the sesame is more like that nutty flavor. He does talk about really being careful because a lot of times we'll buy multigrain bread or there are other tricky words that they have there in the title. But what you want to make sure in the ingredient line is that it says the word whole, WHOLE. And like it needs to be 100% whole, whatever, whole wheat flour. And that's what I always look for. If there's another word in there that says flour without the word whole in it, it's just not good. It's refined flour. So that was one thing that I wanted to touch base with you as far as the breads are concerned. Let me know if you have a favorite bread that you like that that I didn't mention. So Ezekiel bread has a couple different things. I don't know if I mentioned it to you guys before. When my husband and I first got married, I guess it was kind of close when we first got married. I made this like kale and white beans over an Ezekiel bread English muffin. It was one of the worst meals I've ever made. And he's always like super nice and will try stuff. And after he ate it, he's like, please, please don't ever make that again. So it was a complete bomb. So those Ezekiel bread English muffins, if you're used to regular, like, and I think at that point he was probably just used to white bread. It was such like a shock to his system. They're definitely dense. Vicky does the Ezekiel bread and the English muffins. Okay, those English muffins that I was just talking about. I think they're fabulous, but obviously, 20 years ago, 18 years ago, he was a little shocked by that tasty dinner that I made that had those English muffins. Yeah, people don't like it because it's so dense. It was like eating a hockey puck. And I mean, he probably would have eaten it if I had something super tasty on top of it. Or right now he would eat it probably. We have some of that spread, or he would put peanut butter and jelly on it, something like that. But for him to eat that with like kale and white beans on top, it just didn't quite work for him. So actually, I've only bought them for myself. I've never served them to him since then, but I do like them. I personally do like them. And I think Ezekiel also has tortillas. I've never had any luck with them. They're frozen. They've always crumbled. So you just have to maybe have better patience than I do. Maybe if you keep them in the refrigerator and you don't try to separate them in the freezer, that works out a little bit better. I might have to try it. It looks intimidating from Nora. Yeah, what can I say? So, I love trying some of those different breads. If you're eating bread, some people do, some people don't. They avoid bread, but I don't see anything wrong with it personally. So I definitely include it. And my youngest son was like, "Oh, that smells so good. Can I have some?" And his sister had made something the day before, which was like, it was made with, highly refined carbohydrates. We'll put it that way. And so he's like, "Oh, I want some cinnamon raisin bread." And when I gave it to him, he took a bite of it. He was like, "Oh, this isn't what I thought." So I think he was thinking it was going to be more like what his sister had made him, but it wasn't. Bean burger tips. Have you guys made his veggie burgers? I have a client who just swears by those veggie burgers in here. And I wanted to make them, but I didn't get around to it this week. But it is completely on my to-do list. Super easy to change things up with those bean burgers, right? Because most of them, and actually Jeff Novick has these videos called fast food. Maybe it's just called fast food. I'm not sure. But Jeff always makes super, super simple recipes. And he always makes this veggie burger recipe. And you can just kind of rinse and repeat. It's like, what kind of beans do you have on hand? And then, you add the beans, and like Dr. Furman's too. Dr. Furman uses seeds or nuts. Jeff definitely does not. So like then whatever seeds or nuts that you have on hand, and then what veggies do you have and what kind of flavorings? Like, do you want to use salsa and make it more of like a spicy Mexican-y one? Or, do you want to make it more Mediterranean or more Thai? So It's super easy if you have that base recipe to just change things up to make it tasty and to fit your taste buds. And then remember, I think it was 179. We have this great list of flavors and foods of international cuisine. So you can think, oh, I'm in the mood for Moroccan veggie burgers. And then here the list is garlic, onion, cinnamon, ginger, cilantro, mint, saffron, cumin, lemon. So you might choose from some of those spices to make it more of a Moroccan veggie burger, if that's even a thing. So let me know if you've tried those veggie burgers. If not, what are your favorite veggie burgers to try in the store? I was talking about the sunny bean burgers in here with the sunflower seeds, but I guess we were just talking about in the end of the book how he talks about zinc and zinc supplementation. I think he recommends about 10 to 15. I think that's what it is per day. But if you are having pumpkin seeds, those are high in zinc. So you could always make these sunny bean burgers with pumpkin seeds. If I buy them from the store, my kids have a certain favorite. I prefer Dr. Prager. I actually prefer making some homemade, but if I'm going to buy them from the store, I like Dr. Prager's. But I'm wondering what you guys like. What are your favorite veggie burgers? Obviously, making them yourself is the healthiest way to go. And if you have the time, you could just make them and freeze a bunch of them and pull them out as needed. But, I like to, sometimes I work with my clients and we do, I don't want to say like the word just came in my head, like a doomsday meal plan, not a doomsday meal plan, but like in Florida, we have basically a stash of food in case we have hurricanes that's super easy to eat, shelf stable. I'm sure different parts of the country you have similar for whatever kind of natural disaster you have. And, I like to make these meal plans for my clients for like weeks that they're not going to be able to go out and get anything. So what does that include? What does that include? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And yeah, is it great to make your own veggie burgers? 100%. But to have one that's store-bought, that's pretty compliant, that you can eat that instead of grabbing something at like a restaurant on the way home is a great option. Lately, Vicky's been having Hillary's Azuki bean patties. They're okay. Oh, where do you buy those? I don't think I've seen those, but I do love it. The Azuki beans. Azuki? I think I'm pronouncing it wrong now. My tongue is all tied. I love those beans and I get them sprouted too. Oh, from Sprouts. We don't have a Sprouts where I am. I don't think there's one anywhere near me, and I haven't seen really Sprouts back home in Florida, but maybe I'll search that name and see if they have any grocery stores around me. Always up for trying a new awesome veggie burger. What else does it talk about? What else did you love about this book and that you want to take with you going forward? He has that epilogue. Oh, okay, Jennifer says she loves Hillary's. Found it Myers, which I also don't have near me. I'm definitely going to go on. Oh, Vicky's in Florida and she has Sprouts. That doesn't seem fair, Vicky. I don't have Sprouts. Maybe they're just not very close to me. I'm going to look and search to see where I can get those. I'm in Southeast Florida. So maybe there are some and I just don't even realize that we have Sprouts around there. Nora, she has Morningstar in the freezer. Yeah, so my kids, their favorite veggie burger are black bean burgers from Morningstar. So we have those in the freezer also. My high schooler is a boy and he will sit down and have 3 of those for dinner. So I feel good about it. It's black beans, right? And I serve it on a whole wheat bun for him. So we love those as well in this house. He really talks about in the epilogue, like, this is the way we should be eating. This is what the research shows. Don't get bogged down. It's our duty to bring everybody along with us and kind of spread the word of good health. But he talks about not just stopping at what we're putting in our mouth, also looking at sleep and rest and recreation, intellectual pursuits, interpersonal relationships, exercise. Did I mention that? So listen, right now we're doing intellectual pursuits on our virtual book club, but keeping our brain, fed with great information. Right now I'm listening to an audiobook of a book about meditation, which is so great. It kind of takes both of these. We all know meditation is great for us, at least most of us do. And most of us aren't doing it consistently. And I know all the benefits of it, and I'm still not doing it as consistently as I would like to be. And this book, it talks all about meditation and talks about doing it in 2 15-minute increments a day. So I'm excited to kind of go forth with that and see the changes that I notice with that meditation, because I think that meditation is so, so important for us, especially in this day and age. We have so much information coming at us at all times. Oh, Vicky, Tampa area has a couple of sprouts. Okay, if I'm ever in the Tampa area, I'm going to stop and get some for sure. We have, where I am, we have Whole Foods, we have Trader Joe's, and then we have like Publix and Winn-Dixie. I think there's an Albertsons somewhere around us. Something else, some Fresh Market. We have Fresh Market. I wonder if Fresh Market would have it. Sometimes they have some different kinds of products that I don't normally see. I'm going to be on the lookout for it for sure. So, are you guys meditating? Are you exercising your mind, your body? What does your sleep look like? How many of you are sleeping really well at night, and how many of you are struggling with your sleep? Because that's so important as well. That's one of the things in this meditation book that I'm listening to. She's saying the benefit of meditation is that when we're meditating, we kind of can relax our brain so that it gets rejuvenated. I'm totally paraphrasing here. And that way, when we go to sleep, we actually can sleep and rest our body. And she's saying you can't really rest your brain and your body at the same time. So a lot of times we're not getting deep sleep because our mind's still going, processing all night long. And then we only get a little bit of like rest for our body. Thought that was pretty interesting. So let me know, are you guys all meditating? Do you know about the benefits of meditating like me, and you're just not doing it as regularly as you would like to do it? I even have an app on my phone. There are so many great apps now for meditation as well, to remind me to make sure I'm making time for myself and meditation. So I love, love, love that. Touching on the very end of the book with the supplements, because everybody's always talking about supplements. What do you do? I'd like to hear what you all do for your supplements. Do you take vitamins? Do you have certain vitamins that you do, certain vitamins that you don't? I know Dr. Furman has his own supplements. Some people take those. He talks about a lot that we shouldn't be taking. Like, he doesn't like to see folic acid supplementation. We get a lot of natural folate with food, and he really feels like that's plenty as long as you're eating healthy. Beta carotene, again, he doesn't suggest supplementing beta carotene. They always take these research studies and find this like a vegetable that people eat that they are super healthy because they eat it, and then but then the researchers are like, oh, it must be this one thing in it. Like, say it's beta carotene, and then they test it and they never get the same results, because there's this synergistic effect when we eat the fruits and the vegetables with it in it. And that's what he's saying, right? For folate, eat the fruits and vegetables or the leafy greens. For beta carotene, eat the produce. So he doesn't recommend supplementation for that. Vitamin A, definitely not. It's one of those, it can be dangerous because it's a fat soluble vitamin. So, and he talks about it can also increase calcium loss at high quantities, and liver damage and birth defects. So he definitely recommends against taking vitamin A supplementation or having a multivitamin with vitamin A in it. Nora, exercise and sleeping are on point. Yay, I have been listening to audiobooks. I need to look into meditation. It might help with stress. Okay, take that might word out. It will help with stress. Like, it's so proven to help with stress. So, what is the book that I am reading right now? I will find out if you're interested in. I think it has something like Stress Less. I know it's by Emily Fletcher, if you look it up. I'm not totally through it yet, and but I am enjoying it, and I think it will be helpful for me, definitely, to increase the meditation in my life for sure. Vitamin E, he says get your vitamin E from nuts and seeds, not from supplements. Selenium, he says the same thing, avoids supplementing with selenium. And I think it is the Brazil nut. If you have like one Brazil nut every day or every third day, every other day, it is high in selenium and will keep your levels where they need to be. Copper and iron, again, he doesn't really recommend supplementing those either. Vitamin B12, he does recommend, and it, I think, is in his supplements. Obviously, if we're eating animal products, or if we're not eating animal products, we're not getting much B12 in our diets. And so that's one that I personally supplement. I have had sprays, I have had capsules, I've supplemented in different ways. I'm interested to see how you all supplement your B12. I also get mine checked yearly. It's not usually very low. It has been low a couple of times in my life. But really only super low, I would say, one time in my life. And I think I was maybe still eating meat at that point. So I'm not even quite sure why it was low. As we age, also older adults need to supplement sometimes with B12 because their stomach acids, that all changes, and they have a hard time absorbing B12. So I think his supplements provide it. There are tons of B12 supplements out there. There are 2 different types. Lots of information on B12. Vitamin D, he also recommends supplementation if your levels are low. Most of us get tested when we go for checkups for our vitamin D level. I supplement with vitamin D. Mine tends to be low, even though I'm from Florida. Go out in the sun very often. And when I do go in the sun, I'm wearing long sleeves, I'm wearing a hat, I'm wearing sunscreen. Any part of my body that's not covered by something has sunscreen on it. I know people talk about you should just go outside and like be in the sun for X amount of minutes a day to get your vitamin D. I've had skin cancer removed twice from myself, so I don't do that. I just take vitamin D supplementation. Veggie loves the sun. Yeah, I don't even love the sun. So, I mean, I love looking at the sun. Like it's a gorgeous day. I like sitting in the shade and seeing the sun. You know, I I guess I like the sun when it's not crazy hot in Florida. It's usually pretty hot for me, but I kind of stay away from it a little bit. So I definitely have to supplement my vitamin D level. But he talks about making sure you're between 25 and 45 nanograms per milliliter. And, he says every couple of years, check your vitamin D level to make sure you're on par. Like you're not taking too much. You don't need to take it. Maybe if it's low, or find out what your levels are. Basically, it's on a person by person basis. He recommends supplementing with zinc also, but like we talked about, zinc is in a lot of nuts and seeds, like pumpkin seeds, but low dose, 10 to 15 milligrams. He always talks about that's fine. That seems wise. Iodine, I've never supplemented until recently. I bought liquid iodine to supplement. The reason, and I want to have my levels tested, but the reason a lot of us are low is because we're not having iodized salt anymore. And so I guess way back when people were having an iodine deficiency, so they started adding it to the table salt. And because people were eating so much table salt, it rectified the issue. It was just fortified with it. But nowadays, a lot of us aren't having salt, right? If we're having a salt-free diet. So we need to really kind of check in with that. It's also in seaweed. If you're eating seaweed regularly, then maybe you are doing just fine. But to go ahead and check it is always good, or just like he says, he doesn't see anything wrong with doing maybe 100 or 150 micrograms a day. So are you all supplementing? I'm curious. On my Facebook Live, we had some people that were using Dr. Furman's vitamins for women, and some other supplementation. I have like a couple of different brands that I kind of pull from, and I don't know. It's kind of cool to think maybe to take just one that had everything, but right now I just have like, I specifically am taking certain things for my own body, my own needs. Let me see if you guys have put anything over here. Dun, dun, dun. Geraldine, some kelp for taking a wee pinch when I think of it. Comes, in a small shaker bottle. Yeah, and I think you can like just season your food with it too, right? For sure. And I think that that's probably a great idea to do, to just have right in your cabinet. And that's kind of how I do it too. Like when I think about it, I know I'm not so great with those kind of things. I have to tell you, I sometimes get super nauseous from vitamins. So for me, it's like this balancing act of taking it exactly when I'm eating food and making sure I'm having enough food when I'm eating it. And then making sure I don't have anything like super important planned in case I feel sick after I take it. So it's kind of this joke with my husband. It's like, oh, did you take a vitamin again? So I have to be super careful, especially with those B vitamins. So I'm very, very careful with those. Nora, take B12, D, and DHA, EPA. Yeah, and those are the basics that I think that Dr. Furman really recommends. B12, D, if you're low, and the EPA, DHA. I think that's what most baseline that he does recommend for sure. The other part about this book is the end has all those references. If you want to kind of look back and see what he references when he's talking about all these different studies, which is always good to do, right? To make sure that the studies say what he's saying they say, because a lot of those those fad books out there aren't necessarily aligning up with the science for sure. So you guys let me know, have you enjoyed having the book club? We're at the end for the end of dieting, but I am going to be choosing a new book and we are going to kind of change up the format a little bit going forward. I'd love to hear, what your thoughts are for a new book. Give me any suggestions that you have. Jennifer takes a multivitamin. It has iron in it and DK, DHA, but that's okay. Yeah, and I don't know if you've read at all how he talks. It has Oh, I'm trying to read it. And sometimes, like he talks, sometimes we need iron if we're females, if you're postmenopausal, or men typically need iron unless your levels are low. And he even talks about what level in there he would suggest iron supplementation for. And yeah, we just have to make sure that the multivitamins, like what form the vitamin A is in inside of the multivitamins, for sure. Oh, good, Geraldine. You've enjoyed it. Look forward to the next one. Good. I'm so glad. I think it's so important to keep the positive information going in. Our health is so important to us, and it kind of keeps it on the forefront of our mind, I think. Health book, and that's why I like to, read health books. Or I was telling my other group that next week, at the end of the week, I'll kind of be out for a long weekend. I'm going to this plant-based nutrition and healthcare conference. I'm actually not going to it. I usually go to it, but it is virtual this year. So that's all day. It's like all day, Saturday, Sunday. It starts, I think, on a Friday, and on a Monday it ends. So I hope I have tons of great little tidbits of information. I think Dr. Furman might be speaking on that one. I think I was looking over the agenda, and I'm pretty sure I saw his name on the agenda. So I'll let you know what he has to say. If it's anything new and exciting, maybe he'll be talking about, his new book, and I'll let you know. It's been my pleasure to show up for you all on Friday and discuss this book with you. And I look forward to our next book time together. Have a great weekend.